What's up, man? Can you hear me?
What is up, Bobbles? We are live, my friend. How are you doing?
Can you hear me, man?
Yeah, awesome.
All right, good. I wasn't sure if you'd be able to hear me or not.
Yeah, I got you loud and clear, brother.
It's been a
I'm sitting here
while
watching.
since I've done a group live, so I have a new setup and wasn't sure if it would all work. So,
So you had to change over to Chrome?
yeah, I'm using a Mac now, so
Okay.
StreamYard doesn't work with Safari.
Man, the White Sox are beating the wheels off the Astros. Another home run, 10-0.
Yeah. What are the Padres got another 8 tonight, so 32 runs in 2 games so far. Yeah,
It's like
it's what it
basketball.
is. Yeah,
Hey, man. Well, what do you
I
think
don't
about
need
baseball
these
season?
things. I thought I needed these. There we go. I can sit back and relax.
There it is, man. So yeah, we just sit back and chit chat, and whoever gets on here gets on here, and
Yeah, I need to get back to doing these, but like I said, the last time I had done one, I can't even remember who it was with, but I was using like a headphone thing with a mic, and it sounded like crap, and it kept falling off my head, and I just hadn't done one, and now I got a little bit better setup, and I wasn't sure if it worked, but now that I
you should
know
have
I
got
do,
Nolan.
what's
You should
that?
have got Nolan on here.
Yeah, I don't know what he's up to. Um,
Remember, he had that headset, and when that was the last one I did with you, was with him, and
yeah,
his headset was having problems. I remember
yeah,
that. Man,
mine
what do you
is.
think about baseball, man?
I think this is outside of being a Nationals fan,
Mhm.
this is the best season the sport has had in probably 20 years. I mean, you got a lot going on with all the guys hitting the home runs and everything. You got a couple divisions that are tightly locked with the standings. Wish it wasn't so much wishy-washy stuff with the pitchers, the sticky stuff, or
Mhm.
um, you got players that are getting themselves in a bit of trouble with Bauer and Castro, and you got some injuries that happen. That sucks.
Yeah,
Um,
it looks like we were messaging earlier, and I sent that one man. It looks like Castro's gone.
yeah, I don't know what. I know he was out a game or so like a month ago. They said personal reasons.
Personal family. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on there. Again, that's none of my business. I wish these athletes used their head a little bit better, like Bauer. I mean, I don't know the whole situation there, but sounds like he wanted to have some fun, and some lady wanted to get paid or something. So now he's in the doghouse. So, but
And I'm glad I'm in agreement with you. And it makes no sense to me. This guy has got a social media mogul situation going on. I mean, he's
mhm.
got the MLB commissioner following his social media stuff anyway. So,
Well, he
and
was
then he's under a
also,
microscope. He's under that microscope because he's talked about spin rates and sticky stuff.
yep,
And then he goes to LA of all places.
yep.
Y'all on the West Coast, you know what I'm talking about. It's just you're
Yeah, I
asking for
mean,
any.
at the end of the day, eh, being around a lot of these, well, I can't say a lot of these guys, but meeting athletes in the past, and some were high profile athletes, and kind of getting to know them a little bit. Um, Realistically, they get put, you know, on blast when something happens because they're in the media, because they're known, because they're famous, because they get paid a lot of money. But most of those guys are just like me and you. they just have a really kick-ass job. And it's sad because we're human beings, and none of us are perfect. But we don't get thrown into we don't get thrown into the media segment of it all because we don't have such high
You're in the
profile people.
lion's den at that level, and at
Yeah.
that, you're
If
you're
you
in the
fart
lion's
wrong,
den.
it's a news headline.
Yeah, and it's sad. They probably have to walk around on eggshells, and just be like, I can't
And
trust. Like they would, like you would be a ball player, and I would come up to you and not know who you are, but you would think you know who I am. He's trying to set me up, and
oh
I'm like,
yeah,
hey man, that's pretty cool. I like your ball cap, that kind of thing.
yeah.
I like your car.
They definitely have to live a different lifestyle because they have the magnifying glass on them. Like I said, they fart wrong. It's a news article. And it's sad because for the most part, all them guys are really good. Good people. They just have a really kick ass job. And but yeah, as far as the sport, uh, hell, look at the ratings or the viewership. What was it? 3 million over the NBA All-Star
Yeah.
game. I mean, I think that could have been even more if the game still had an importance to it, so to speak. When it was the winner,
And they didn't promo it a lot. I did not see a lot of promotion on it here in my area.
No, but back when it had like more
prestige,
competitive value to it, with whoever won got the World Series home field and all that stuff. The guys still compete, but it surprised me, and I'm wondering. So it's kind of like a YouTube stream or a YouTube video you do. You might have 500 views, but your average watch time might only be like
1 minute, 2 minutes.
Yeah. So how much of that 8 point whatever million I think it was watched how long of the game? That's
how much of it was DVR too.
Right. Because let's be real, Ohtani he's been promoted and hyped beyond belief because of what he's doing this year. Mm-hmm. People may have just tuned in to watch the first couple innings, see what he did and rolled out. I don't know. So, are you showing Ohtani's?
Yeah, those are ones I'm sending to you.
Well, I'm not sending them, but
good God,
these are stacks of Ohtani's.
I'm being honest.
Decide.
I've sent some Ohtani's. I'm doing.
It's hard
before we get into that. Before I get into that, I agree with you about Ohtani, and I put a tag. I think it was MLB or ESPN's Twitter account, and it said, "Who do you think is going to hit the longest home run?" And I said Juan Soto, and I stole your line, and I didn't give you copyright on it either, brother. He's going to get one past the railroad tracks. And damn if he didn't. Because if that wasn't there, there's railroad tracks right behind the stadium. It would have went to the railroad tracks.
In that derby, you had. So, I honestly would have expected Gallo to do better. But if you really noticed what happened there, 1, 2, 3, 4 all got eliminated in the first round. And then it went to 5, 6, 7, 8. And that was kind of surprising because, I'm sure you watched it. The announcers were crowning Gallo a pass right off the bat. They were crowning Ohtani. They were crowning Ohtani a pass right off the bat. And it didn't happen. They expected Story to do better. And I told my wife something I'm curious to see moving forward is how many of those players got exposed in that derby. Because Trevor Story obviously cannot hit the ball unless it's like touching his chest inside, and he has to pull hit. So
boy.
will pitchers catch up on that and not throwing heat inside? Um, there was little things you could pick up on. Some of them were saying throw it higher. Are the pitchers going to catch that on rewatching that derby? Say, hey, this guy wants it high. Let's throw it low. That was a thing that I picked up on with Soto, and not just because I'm a Nats fan. He was hitting the ball everywhere in the ballpark, and he didn't really have a specific part of the zone.
He only grounded out twice, I think.
I think they said 3. I think they said he had 3 ground balls, and he also told the media that's why he did the derby. His launch angles sucked this year. He said he wanted to see if he could work on his swing, and well, so far it's worked. So I think that kid. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, brother. You're on a roll with it because I'm in 100% agreement with you.
I think that kid loves the game and he wants to be as best he can. They've talked about when he was struggling in the field, he would stay after. They've talked about he went 0 for 3 or 0 for 4 in a game, and he stayed there till midnight in the batting cage. They said he's one of the first ones at the ballpark every day. He's 22 years old. He's not making, he's making good money, but he's not making a large contract. He's always got a smile on his face. He always has his dad and his little brother around. You can tell family's important to him. He's won a World Series ring already, and he wants to be the best he can be. And the funniest thing about it all is you just keep hearing how Ohtani is potentially better than Babe Ruth and this and that. And Juan Soto's nickname is the Childish Bambino. And it's like,
he is so underappreciated right now. It's ridiculous. I don't give advice on buying cards, and I know you don't either, really.
I throw names out, but I don't ever tell anybody to go buy anything.
People, y'all are crazy if you do not move on Juan Soto products. Because it's crazy. It's crazy.
I guess the thing that people, they've seen him he had Silver Slugger last year in the short season. They won the World Series in 19.
Got robbed for Rookie of the Year.
I still think that should have been Rookie of the Year. I think him and Acuna could have shared it. But it's like with anybody else though. People are all high on Ohtani's horse right now, and they're buying him up, and that's why I did that video the other day because and I'm not going to get into details, but I was seeing some stuff out there. People saying that it's a good choice to go spend X amount on this, that, and the other, and I got to looking at the raw value on the card. His Topps Chrome, and it's like at the time you could get them for like $70 to $80, and that's way inflated over what it was. And he is having a hell of a year. I'm not going to doubt that one bit. But I
think part of it is that Tatis value has gone so high. Ohtani was more realistic to buy it first. Now his prices. It was something affordable you could grab. Because, at the beginning of the season, couldn't give an Ohtani rookie card away.
Right. And that's the thing. But like right now, I don't think is the smart time to buy him. Not at all.
Hold or sell.
I am selling him.
Me too.
I've sold, let's see, like 420, just over 504 cards on eBay. And then I took a bunch, I think it was like 38 cards to the Chantilly show last Saturday. Within the first 30 minutes of being there, I found a guy I kind of browsed the tables when I first got there. I seen a guy had a ton of raw cards, so I knew he was a raw seller, and showed him the Otani I brought, and I made 725 right off the bat. They were raw, and that gave me money to use there at the show. I have it's taken me a while to dig them out. I have like 8 in my collection. You know what I choose to do is keep one of each one that I have in my collection, and then sell my other stuff. I actually have 3 different ones right here that are graded all 9.5s. It's All-Star stamp, and then his number 700 and the US 1. Those are still available. But so far, I've already made 1,200. I have 7 or 8 in my collection, 3 more graded, and whatever the hell is in those stacks I put up. I'm content with keeping what I have in my collection. I'm not a buyer on him. Vlad is another one. He was hot his rookie year. He came in with high expectations. He did not meet them. And, he's having a hell of a season. Now, Otani's uniqueness, I think, is what's driving him, and the fact that every sports thing you listen to is talking about him. Shit, they're probably talking about him on NHL. I don't know. And it is unique.
He's the buzzword right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great thing that he's doing, but I'm also going to say, just because he throws 100, I believe it was his last start before the All-Star break, the Yankees knocked him out before he got 3 outs.
And from what I'm looking at, I mean, you tell me you're selling Otani more than I am. What I've got of Otani, I'm selling is his hitting poses, not his pitching.
Yeah, that's what people want, but
they want the hitting stuff. So
they, people are buying the update. They're buying, they're buying everything, dude. Some of these cards in here, and let's see if I can dig one out. Like, even shit like this. Where are they at?
Amari the Angels, in my opinion, are like the Yankees. They can't buy a championship no more. The Dallas Cowboys. They spend all this money and they can't buy a trophy.
Speaking on the Angels, though, here's what gets me. If Otani is the best player in baseball right now, and he's on the same team, and he's probably going to win, MVP, and he's the best thing since Babe Ruth, then why in the hell hasn't Mike Trout prices gotten to where I can get those affordable?
Yeah.
If he's
still $2,000.
If he's the best thing since sliced bread, then why aren't these up there at that price? It's because people don't believe it's going to be a continuous thing. And
Adam Eden just went to the Angels.
Yeah,
I think yesterday.
But like these here, even these things, I'm seeing people pay $8 to $10 for. The Japan's Finest, Road to Stardom, the 3 home run thing. That's the craze that I've seen.
How's that golf cart one doing?
Pretty much all of those, I've been seeing them anywhere, $3, $4, $5 up to sometimes $10. It's just odd to me because it was not a hard card to pull. I mean, realistically, it was not hard to pull at all.
Refractor, you're not going in timeout tonight.
But yeah, I mean, it's special what he's doing, and it's fun to watch. Jay Cook commented on my video and said he made a comment that he disagreed with my assessment of Otani, that he thought it was great for the game, and I said in that video, it is great for the game. These home runs races that are going on with Vlad and Tatis, I'm going to tell you, and there was James Gillum was there, my wife was there, and Mike from the group was there, and Third and Long was there at dinner with us Saturday. And this was before the Acuna injury. I told them if there was one player right now that I would have went after, it would have been Acuna. And that was prior to the injury. But that also shows how quick things can change. If I had to go at somebody at this point right now, and I have all of these guys. So when I'm saying this, I'm not buying them because I already have them. But if it was somebody to ask me who they would go after right now, I think the two. If I had to do a list of 5, I would say Eloy, but keep an eye on his injury report. Robert, but don't go heavy. Tatis, but don't go, insane. I think Tatis has a chance to be sniffing that 40-40. Let's see. I had 2 other guys that I was thinking about. Oh, Soto. I think he's going to get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. Probably, and I hate to say this. I really hate to say this. Because I don't like the team. But Alex Bregman. I think he'll be coming back, and he's always
mine.
Huh?
Well, here's mine. Eloy. He's playing here in Charlotte now. Last week he was at Winston at the Dash for single A. First at bat, hit a home run. He's playing the 2-3 games here. They've played the Braves AAA team and got the wheels beat off of them, basically. But he's played good. He's getting on base. He's fielding really good. He's moving really good. So I like Eloy, especially with the White Sox making a run.
Right. That's why I said Eloy and Robert right off the gate because
Robert, I'm in agreement with Robert. I think if you've got Robert and you want to flip, I think you should pick it up and get it graded now. Because I don't think he's not going to come. I don't think he's going to be back till September or October. I think he just got cleared last week for his light rehab kind of physical therapy stuff.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like when I give people, I'm not giving the names as
we're just kicking the can, man. This is our stuff. We're kicking the can.
But like when I say the names like that, I'm not talking on a flip spectrum. I'm talking if you want to pick some guys up for your collection or whatever, I think you should get these guys now
because they're going to go up. They're going to
go up. Right. That's what I'm saying. If there was 5 guys I would want to pick up right now, for that reason, I don't care about the flip speculation because I'm sitting on stuff that
I agree with you on Bergman. But I really like Jordan Alvarez. I think if he got to hitting, he's not playing worth crap tonight.
My problem with Jordan is I would like him to be more of a defensive player. I guess it's Vlad is. I love what Vlad did. I love that work he put in. He lost the weight, and it's shown this year. And I love Vladdy and his dad, and all of that connection there. And I think he's a great kid, good for the game. But outside of that, it's just like all these people that were rushing out to buy Pete Alonso because he won the home run derby. What has Pete Alonso done? He's won.
He's got some shit now. He got some moves coming up to the plate now.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a cool nickname. He's got a cool nickname. He broke the rookie home run record, and he's won 2 home run derbies. Outside of that, I don't see he's done nothing. So that, you
Yeah.
know,
He's a
and
tier. He's like a tier 2, tier 3 player, just in my opinion.
I more am into the guys that are doing things just outside of hitting home run, you know. So that's kind of I don't get in just the long ball thing. A guy like Tatis who could be sniffing on 40 homers, 40 stolen bases, that hasn't been done in 15 years. That's something that will drive interest if he gets up there.
I
I
think
think
that just said it
Tatis.
all.
What's that?
See that comment?
Pete Alonso equals Dave Kingman. Yeah, I mean, they look at a guy like Juan Gonzalez.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, he could hit bombs, but not much else. You know, um, I guess Pujols you could say in a sense, but he's also old now.
Does
Um,
anybody even really know his age? I
I,
want to see a birth certificate. I want to see a birth certificate.
but yeah, I mean, I like the guys that do more than just hit the ball over the fence.
Yeah, I like it. And I think that's where I like pitchers. You know, in the baseball hobby, you don't go after pitchers unless they're a Nolan Ryan or somebody like that that's classic, these classic pitchers. But
I
I
think
mean,
Nolan
really,
Ryan is way undervalued if you want to get in talk of sense or like
oh God,
in sense of value.
yeah.
I think Nolan is way undervalued. That man, you know, his record will never be broken.
To me,
Pitchers aren't the same.
Cal Ripken has the Iron Man title, but I think Nolan
Yep.
Ryan deserves it as well. I mean,
Well,
he's
Ripken's
tough.
another one
He's
that's
just a bad dude.
undervalued, but
I mean, he'll go out there, he'll strike you out, and then he'll put 6 punches in your face.
yeah, yeah. But
And
no, I think the game overall. I think there's a lot of players that aren't talked about that that's really good for the game right now.
you see where
Something
Dusty
else,
Baker's boy got?
since we got people in here, there's something I want to talk about to anyone viewing. And most of the guys watching, they already are going to know this, but there might be other viewers out there. So, with baseball, to any one of you out there, if you are new to baseball cards or you like opening baseball cards, you know, whatever the case may be, I seen Calvin from our group post the other day, and I've heard other people discuss this before. Um, they'd say I didn't do well on X product because the normal mindset with like football and basketball, you can rip the product. The rookies are hot. You could sell them raw right out of the pack and double, triple, quadruple your money that you spent on the pack, whatever, on one card. Baseball, we are seeing with guys like Otani, with, you know, the Tatis, with even Soto. Uh, Baseball is a sport that just because, you know, you pull this Brendan McKay auto today and he's not good, you don't know 3 years from now what he's going to turn into. It goes just back to like you can collaborate it both with the MLB rookies and the first Bowman prospect cards. People prospect so much with Bowman on these minor league guys and the top prospect list, but that takes patience till they get to the pros and see what they're going to do. You could have a 10th round pick that nobody was really high on that makes it to the bigs and becomes a star. And it's a similar fashion with rookies. You're going to have the guys that you can see flashes of right out of the gate, But then there might be a guy that takes a couple years to get his MLB groove on. And, you know, just never think that, well, this guy's going to be nothing. Stash your rookies away. They
Yep.
don't have to all be thrown in the slab right away. Stash them away. Get yourself a binder, a box, a monster box, whatever. Stash them bad boys away. Put them in alphabetical order or by team or whatever the case may be, and look at them in 3 years. You know, go like 2021. You got, Alec Baum, Dylan Carlson. I can't even think of all of them. There's a lot of rookies in this year's product.
Baseball's a different world, y'all. If you don't collect baseball, baseball is a long-term.
Yeah. And there's so many rookies in like this year's product that aren't doing so hot. I mean, Baum's supposed to have been a star, and he's doing okay. He's starting every day, but he's not playing great. Next year, he might crank it up a notch. Year after, he might crank it up a notch. If you don't see progression, then it's time to say, okay, that was a miss. But don't ever think just because today a guy isn't, doing well, that he's not going to figure it out. I always hear people say, back when they tell people about what they should send in and what they shouldn't send in to the grading companies, sending $5 rookies in. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, it wasn't that long ago. I was buying Fernando Tatis Series 2 tops for $5. And why did I buy him in 2019? Well, because, he was hurt. But if you looked at his numbers, what did he have? 16 home runs in the 60-some games that he did play in?
I had a lot, like a 5-card lot of the 2019 base and chrome, like 5.
Yeah.
And it sat on eBay for weeks. And finally sold. And didn't get a lot of it.
I looked at his numbers in 2019 after his injury and everything, and I was like, this kid was almost on pace. If you did his numbers that he had in the games he played and figured it up over a course of a 162, if he had played in a full season, and I was like, this kid would have been on pace for 40-40 his rookie year if he had been able to play 162. And I was seeing, people were letting him go, $3, $5, whatever, because he was hurt. Nobody was really high on him. And so I was buying him up, I was buying Soto rookies for $10 to $15 during the 2019 World Series. This kid hits a ball to the railroad tracks. He hits a big knock in the wild card game. He had just checked all the boxes off. And I screwed up and didn't buy his first Bowmans when they were cheap, so I didn't want to miss the train on his, flagship and the chrome and everything. So yeah, don't think because you rip a box today or whatever, and you don't get the best guy or somebody that's not doing so hot right now that you lost money. It's not a sprint. It's not a sprint to eBay. There's too many times that, whether it's graded cards or raw cards, you get them, you see it over and over. People rip a pack or get an order back, and it's a sprint to eBay to get them listed and everything. And, I understand that's the intent behind some of the cards that people send in or pull or whatever. And there's cards that I pull that I just have no interest in keeping. Hell, I think it is the largest card I ever sold. I never even held in my hand. I never even seen it in person. And so that was a little crazy. But yeah, just baseball out there. If anybody is into baseball or wanting to get into baseball cards, don't buy at the peak of excitement, and don't think that a guy's value today is going to be his top end value, uh, like basketball with a Zion or something like that, where it's most likely going to go down more than it goes up because of the hype that's there. It takes these kids sometimes several years before they hit their point in becoming an MLB player.
Yep.
So it's like cards that I see there. Look at Otani. Otani was hype as hell coming in 2018. The excitement of him coming over from Japan and being a two-way player, and then he disappointed. Then he got hurt, had the Tommy John, the shortened season. There was a lot of things that played into it. And now this year he's getting to put on a show. And, kind of living up to that hype of when he came over here. So, again, it took him a couple years. It took him some adjustments. So.
Hey, what do you what do you think about this whole Phil Orlando leaving PSA? I think that was all in the woodwork. They probably told him part of the deal is we'll keep you on for so long for transition and beat feet. What do you think?
Well, I'll be completely honest. It might have been a planned thing. I'm not, one to sit here and speculate on what him and Nat had planned for the future of the company or whatever. But I will say, if I have to give you an honest opinion,
Yeah.
Just reading his letter, I think he didn't want to get his nuts kicked in at the National because he made a statement about that in the letter. And I think he's looking at the calendar and saying, well, 2 weeks to go, boys. We didn't open July 1st. And we're
because he wanted to make a statement that he got bashed. He was the
he said he was a human pinata at the National. Yeah. And he specified at the Nationals. He specified that. And said he took a lot of the grief from the consumer end. And personally, I wouldn't want to do that right now either, with people that are waiting 10 to 12 months on cards. They're losing a shit ton of money. They said they were going to open back up in July. They didn't. The one level that they did open, they increased. I wouldn't want to take that wrath either. And, I'm sure the man has made enough financially, being within the company as long as he has been, that he was probably at a position that he could walk away from it and not have to take his shins being kicked in by everybody at the National. And, it was kind of odd to me that they're accepting cards at $250, considering they were at $300. And same day is normally, if I'm not mistaken, is normally more than the 1 day turnaround if you mail it in. So I was honestly kind of surprised at that. I was thinking it was going to be at least minimum 600.
And I wonder how many people are specifically going to the National just to get cards done same day at PSA. So that means you're having to buy a ticket to get in, parking, whatever.
I'm going to tell you one guy that is not, and probably don't ever see myself paying. I just can't see $250. Oh, we are graced with the presence of Miss Platinum Megs. What is up, Megs?
Oh my Lord.
Where is Becky? She is downstairs. Hold on, I will holler for her.
Hey, Miss Platinum, I bought into y'all's breaks and stuff and love it. Hey, I got people in Daisy County too. What's up? I'm down in Concord.
Did you hear me? All right, Megs, I hollered for her. Are y'all on breaking yet? It's 10 o'clock. But everybody, that's Meg's. That is G's wife. They are awesome people. She's never came on and threw up in the chat. So
Davie County, that's where the Danners are from.
yeah, they're actually starting their own little league. The Platinum Ballers. Their tryouts are tomorrow. So I don't know if there's anybody out there watching from North Carolina. If you have, I think it's 10 and under. I think 10 and under or 12 and under. I would have to look. It's on her Instagram. But they're holding tryouts tomorrow. They actually, the kids are getting a Little League travel youth ball. I'll just call it that, youth ball.
Travel ball.
Yeah,
that's what it's called. Travel ball.
I think
ball.
if I understand it correctly, they already have acceptance to go play at Cooperstown, where they were supposed to have that big tournament for the kids up at Cooperstown. I think they already have.
Megs, what happened at the Nationals game other than they got the wheels beat off of them?
Suspended
for a shooting. Good Lord. You know, they
JJ said, what if your planning ability is 10 and under? That's
hey,
funny.
did you see that where they fooled the mass shooting at the All-Star game? That's legit. I actually talked buddy mine on the federal level. It was legit correct.
The cleaning lady? Yeah.
She should have thrown the first ball out at the game.
Oh, the game was suspended from a shooting tonight.
I thought they were in San Diego. Are they playing in DC?
Yeah, I seen it says suspended, but it's been raining here, so I thought that's what it was from.
I'll reach out to my buddy. He lives in Navy Yard. He lives 3 blocks from the stadium.
It doesn't surprise me up there, man. It's not the best part of DC, but
that was right there, right where they're at, has changed so much. But like if you go 4 blocks out, you got your crack houses still.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not the best part.
3 blocks and in, it's a different world.
Yep, and they're building it up so much now with apartments and everything else up there. So,
they foreclose. What they do, DC owns a lot of that property. And what they're doing is they're foreclosing, and somehow they're able to get the homes from the bank. I don't know if they're paying out on it or what, but somehow they're getting it. It's not eminent domain, but then they're flipping the property for all these high rises to go in.
Well,
and
I think the ones that are right there at the ballpark are actually the owners are buying those.
It's really cool because, like at my buddy's place, when you go out on his balcony and you look to the left, you see Nat Stadium. You look straight down. You're looking right down the avenue, and you're looking at Nationals Park. And then you look to the right, and you see the rotunda of the Capitol building. Oh my God, it sends chills.
But back to what you were asking, it was probably a planned thing with the whole the PSA transition. It would make sense probably in a business sense. I thought I understood when Nat had done a couple of his interviews that he said he didn't want to be that involved with the business side. He wanted to let them, like, when people were asking him about the grading and all that, he's like, I don't want to be involved in that. So I guess that kind of surprised me that now he's going straight into the CEO role. And I don't know if it has anything to do with, the national coming up or any of that. I don't really talk a whole hell of a lot on any of that stuff because I'm not using that company. And
I know we
speculation when I'm
we text back and forth, and I didn't know if you thought about it and had time to go back and look. It's been a crazy day. It's a Saturday. You work Monday through Friday like like everybody else, and you got your family time. But I mean, and anybody in the group, there's a link. I'll throw the link down. You're more than welcome to join us on here. But with the national, there is the Hobby Palooza folks did a video and said after the national, expect a crash.
I haven't watched it. Guns.
Anybody else's thoughts on that? Too?
Guns called me today. Actually, I talked to him for a little bit on it. I talked to JJ a little bit on, I guess, according to what Guns told me, they're saying something about the hobby's going to collapse 50% or something like that after the national or whatever. I haven't. I'm going to be completely honest. Outside of the guys that have channels that come and support my channel or whatever, there's very few outside of that I go and watch. I do watch some. If somebody shoots me a message says, "Hey, did you see this?" I'll try to get a chance to go check something out. Or if I'm trying to get information on something. But it's kind of like I told Guns. If the people keep talking about it, if the larger platforms, or as they are referred to now, influencers, if they continue to talk this, and they're called influencers for a reason, because they are influential because of the popularity and viewership that they get, and people believe in and follow what they say. If they're going to continue saying this or continue talking about how negatively the market is,
yes, yep,
then yes, it's going to keep going down. I mean,
it's a lot easier to be negative than to be positive about the hobby. It's so easy to say it's going to crash than to say, hey, everything's positive.
The entire community needs to decide: are we going to call it a market or are we going to call it a hobby?
I think genie's out of the bottle.
I don't know if he's. I see he just commented Refractor Jones. I'm telling you, that man, like, he posts over and over of what he's picking up, and he buys like collections, not singles. He buys collections, and that man has a love for it. I don't have anything as large as his amount, but I can tell you, I have enough cards sitting here that even if they were $1 or 50 cents or a quarter a piece, there's a lot of money sitting here. But that isn't what it's about. I hold on to things like I was just talking about with baseball. I don't know how many rookies, just because I don't know. If I get rid of this guy, is he going to become a national? And
you don't have a crystal ball, Bobbles?
No, I don't. And when I get on and try to talk and help people, I try to give information. I don't want to say it's foolproof, but I don't want to throw false hope at somebody that they're going to get rich off of cardboard, or I can't tell anybody what to do. None of us can. But
that's where you got to be. That's where you've got to be doing your due diligence. If you're spending your time and your money on a specific hobby, whether it's stamps or model airplanes or cars or sports cars.
I mean, hell, knitting. You buy the wrong yarn, you're spending too much,
Yeah.
I mean,
you got to use common sense and do your due diligence.
And here's something else that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about. And maybe it's because most people are simply focused in the sports card market. You can't say that the sports card hobby is what's crashing or is taking effect or whatever. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not heavy in all of the areas, but I buy comics. I buy Pokemon. I have spoke on video games. Um, if you look at all of these collectible markets, okay, there is no steady going up, 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 up. Even comics, there's ones that have went up and then they've dipped back down.
Everything fluctuates.
Cards, they went up, they dipped back down. Pokemon, they exploded, they've since dropped right back down. It's a natural cycle essentially because you can't just keep growing, um, especially
When
when
there's product back on the shelves and nobody's buying nothing, that's when it's a true collapse. There's so much product out there, everybody's beating their mama and grandma up to get to it.
yeah, I mean, look at where we're at. A year and a half ago, I believe, not even a year and a half ago, less than a year and a half ago, me and my wife, especially like on Friday nights, um, my grandmother, as y'all know, that have known me for a long time, at that time she was in a nursing home early last year, and we would actually go visit her and then leave from visiting her at the nursing home. We would drive about 30 minutes away from the nursing home. There was a Walmart there, and it was right off of an interstate. We would go check that Walmart, and then we would go up the interstate, hit Charlottesville, which is south of us. There was 2, 3, 4 stores in Charlottesville. We would hit those, come back up north to where we live, and we would just check every store and get a little bit of product from each one. And when I say a little bit of product, you could enjoy this hobby without needing to go to the store and clear a shelf.
Yep.
You didn't have to go in there and think, if I don't buy this, when is the next time I'm going to be able to find a pack of cards? What we would do, and the reason we would go hit several different ones, is a lot of new people probably would think I'm lying my ass off, but you could go into a Walmart and there would be these yellow boxes that said clearance on them. You could pick up 2017 Donruss football with Mahomes rookies in it. You could pick up 2018 basketball products, 2018 Topps Update baseball products, 2018 Prism football with Lamar and Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen rookies and all of them. They were in clearance boxes because nobody was buying them. You could go in and pay, I think it was $250 for a cello pack, or not cello packs, the fat packs of 2018 update. I think they were like $250 or $3 or something like that. And they were at all of the stores. And we would go check them because one might have 2 packs in their clearance bin and the next one might have 2 in theirs or whatever. We didn't even have to worry about the stuff that was actually on the shelf. Like, there was so much Top Series 2 that I could have bought and stocked up on, and I didn't because I figured, if I wait, a few months, it'll be in the clearance bin. So that was kind of, it was something fun. We would make a trip around, check a few stores, get some wax, come home, open it, and have some fun with it. And
hey, brother. Hey, because of this little post right here, go ahead and throw your info out on your SGC submission coming up, if you don't mind.
Yeah, if anybody is interested, easiest thing is to check out the Facebook group. It's facebook.com/groups/Bobbles and Ball Cards.
Miss Bobbles, throw that out there.
It's $25 a card. The July submission, we need the cards by July 22nd, we will be doing the preview on our channel on July 24th, and then the cards will be shipped out to SGC on July 26th. Make sure I got that right. Yeah. So it'd be the 22nd is when we need them by. 24th is preview. And then 26th they get shipped off. Again, $25 a card. Only other thing you pay for is return shipping. And the
Y'all
orders
can't
have
beat
been
that.
coming back super fast. It's kind of crazy. I know people like getting their stuff back really quickly, but it was kind of nice when it was like maybe a month and a half, because like it seems like we're shipping them off. Next thing you know, they're back, and it's like it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. We're glad we can do this for you guys, and that it helps everybody out. So,
What's the craziest card since you've been doing SGC submissions? Not your card, but a card that's been submitted to your group. What's the one that stands out in your mind is like, wow?
uh,
I know there's been a lot of good ones, especially with Platinum.
it's
That you
not
went for.
this. This is not the highest valued card. But the card that I just couldn't believe, that I was holding and getting to submit, and Sean hit the nail on the head. It was the 1952 Topps Jackie Robinson that had part of Mickey Mantle. The card was miscut, and it had part of the 52 Topps Mickey Mantle along the left side of the card. That it, like I said, it's not the most valuable we've sent, but by far the most unique. And as someone who, y'all can go back and watch my videos. It was towards the end of last year. Um, I said that my goal card for 2021 was a 52 Topps Jackie Robinson, and so to see that card, um, with part of the mantle actually there, which I always had wondered if those existed out there.
Yeah.
And it's very shocking how many people don't realize that Jackie and Mantle were actually next to each other. Their sequential card number. That blows my mind, honestly. But I always wondered if they were out there. And then to actually see one and get to hold it, get to submit it, that was probably the coolest card that we've submitted. We've submitted Cobb, we've submitted T206 Ty Cobb. There's been not any high end Babe Ruth, but Babe Ruth. The order, it was a very small order. We had 252 Topps Willie Mays. Those were awesome. The most valuable card, I don't even honestly know. Trae Young, National Treasures RPA. I know that's a big card. 2016 Bowman Chrome Vlad Red Shimmer. That was numbered out of 10. That's a big card. Justin Herbert Flawless RPA out of 5. The Justin Herbert NT Patch Auto out of 101. The Joe Burrow Shield. There's just been a lot of big cards. But the one that stands out to me will be that Jackie Robinson. That was just such a cool card. It got the 1 because of the miscut and because it had a mark on it. But overall, that card is not in poor condition. I didn't see any creases in it. Corners weren't like razor sharp, but they weren't all bent up. So yeah, that's no question. And I'm sitting here spilling off big numbers. big valued cards. And I just want to let everybody know, I don't care if you send a 50 cent card or a $50,000 card. We treat all of your stuff the same. You can ask anybody that gets their stuff back from us. All your packages are packaged the best we possibly can to make sure they're safe. When the cards go down there, SGC doesn't know what's mine, what's yours, what's the next guy's. They all go together. They're just broken into multiple invoices, but there's no names on who's an invoice one or who's an invoice two. So I know y'all used to joke with me in the reviews and be like, "Oh, here comes all the gold labels because it's Bobbles." They don't know what's my cards, guys. They would. The only way they could potentially figure that out would be to go back and watch the preview. And I don't think they have the time down there to sit there for 5 hours watching me talk, what cards. So, it's it's a lot of fun. We're glad we can help you guys. It's a lot of work, but I'll tell you, it's awesome to see so many different things. See so many different, like Sean is a perfect example. When I sit here and say I don't know, we don't treat anybody's stuff any differently, no matter if it's 50 cents or 50,000. Sean sends stuff all of the time that I have absolutely zero freaking clue what it is. I have no clue. I don't know who the players are. I can't say their names. There's stickers from another country.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're worth. I don't, I have no clue, and I'm going to treat it just as well as a Prism Silver or a 52 Jackie or whatever, because I know it's important to him, and that's really what this damn hobby is about. It's not always dollars and cents. It's about having fun, collecting, and making friends, man. So that part of the hobby can't be taken away if we don't let it. That'll never crash. The friendships, the memories, the collecting, um, that can never collapse. If we don't let it, that part of the hobby will always live, and that's the most valuable piece to it.
Yeah.
So
That's the biggest thing I've gotten being back in the hobby is being able to.
Hey, don't even go there, Seth. You see what that man's wearing? I don't own one. I don't own an SGC hat. I don't have a shirt. I don't have a cup. I don't even have an ink pen.
Or a swag bag. I'll send you the swag bag.
No, we give them crap down there all the time. It's no big deal, really, because I'm going to tell you, my daughter bought me that red hat, and I still wear the blue hat because it's so cool. I don't ever want to be known as famous, but it is cool when somebody comes up and recognizes me, whether it be the hat or whatever, the gray beard, whatever the case may be, and just somebody I don't even know. They're not in the group or anything, but they watch the channel and they tell me they appreciate it, because there's just so much drama that goes on sometimes. Hearing those kind words and knowing that people they watch and they get something from it, and knowing that my stuff isn't trying to tell them how to invest or anything, that means a lot to me. So I continue to wear this because it's kind of like I guess a signature. Yeah, it's like they know because of the hat. So
I want the hat. I'm afraid to get the hat and wear the hat because that's your trademark.
Well, they didn't make the blue ones this year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
This year's it's red, but it has a blue ribbon on the side of it. So, but I had the blue one from 18. This is the one from 19. They didn't do 20 because of the pandemic, and then 21 is the red with the blue ribbon. So I get that new hat every year. So
JD's in here. He's
yeah, I just got an
about
alert.
you.
They I think they actually they said it'll resume tomorrow at 1:05. So that sucks, man.
Yeah, I hope nobody got hurt.
Yeah, I didn't get an alert saying that Soto hit a homer, so I guess it wasn't him hitting one out of the ballpark. That would be nice.
Yeah, and every time I've been to DC, I'm been privileged enough to be able to go there several times, especially for National Police Week, and felt safe the entire time I was there. But I was packing too, so with a group of guys that were packing. So,
Oh yeah,
I mean, I can't say anything bad about DC. They open arms for when I've been there. Really,
well,
really nice city.
I
I
mean,
wouldn't want to live there.
yeah, and I actually talked to some folks on my way home, my drive home from work every day, and I tried for people that haven't been in the area or been, in this area. I live far enough south that I'm on like the outside edge of all the heavy traffic and everything else, but I'm not too far south that people like there's people here like people in my neighborhood and everything that travel north to DC. So like I'm basically still considered Northern Virginia, but I'm not up in the heart of all the craziness. Um, and you hear stories all the time. Like when we go up, we take the metro, but you'll hear shootings, stabbings, all that stuff on the metro all the time and everything. And it's just sad.
I
Um,
never had any trouble in the metro. I'll get to ride for free, but I've never had any trouble. I love the metro.
yeah, we never had the only trouble that we ever, and I wouldn't even say it was trouble. It was just craziness. The night of the wild card game, I
Oh
have
yeah,
never like you were. You, all I gotta say is it was a damn sardine can, and we were all packed in it. You just had to pray that you were next to somebody that actually wore deodorant, because we were packed. That was a crazy night.
the last time I was up in DC was opening day 2016, and we went up there for opening day and a couple of games through the week.
Oh,
And
well, it's changed since you've been there.
and I've been up since then, but I haven't been to a ball game. But we've gone up there, and my buddy, who we stay at his place, he lives where the Courtyard Marriott is in Navy Yard. Half of it is a condominiums, and the other part's the hotel. It's one big giant building. It's been there for years. So that's where he lives. And so we walk down to the ballpark and back. Well, my two other buddies at the police department, they gave up. I think we were playing the Reds, and it was cold. It was a night game, and it was our last night there. And my buddies gave up. Now, me and my friend that lives in DC, we stayed. We rode it out. We're staying till they turn the lights off. And we went to a place, and it's behind his place, but everybody goes there. Like the ball players go there and stuff. Like during the winter's ice rink. It's right across the street from Five Guys, where President Obama would get his Five Guy burgers from. And I'm trying to think of the guy's name from Masson.
Coco?
JP or J, Hispanic. He was a baseball player. He's on Masson forever. I don't know if he's on there anymore to calling games because I don't have Masson. I don't have DirecTV anymore.
I
But
don't know.
last name starts with an S. But anyway, he would call the games. He was there. Well, my buddy knew him and knew his girlfriend. How about him? And I don't know. They said he was a ball player. I never heard of him. I guess he was there for the roster. I don't know. I had never heard of him before. And he was there and bought us drinks. That's the
Oh
last
yeah,
thing I remember.
FP Santangelo.
That's him.
He's been
So,
in and out this year. He's got some personal things going on, I guess. He broadcasts some, and then he disappears for a while, and then he might be back for a game or so. But
yeah, because he was like a steady guy there for years, several
yeah,
years.
he actually he played with them back when they were Expos. He actually was on the team
Hey, look who's coming on.
when Tom Brady was drafted. Well, who is this guy?
Look at this guy.
What's up, Andy?
How's it going?
Not
Man,
too bad. Look at him showing off the nice background back there.
I know, man.
Yeah, I know you.
Man, that's Spaceballs.
You got me in my office instead of my car this time.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
Man, how's things going, Andy?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
Man, we're doing
Not
good.
too bad.
We're kicking the can, man. Talking baseball, talking
Awesome.
hobby. Talking
Yeah, this
baseball.
man, that man, he personally knows my guy.
Yeah, I know. He's expecting a baby, your guy.
Yeah, that's awesome though. I mean, for him and oh damn,
Bree, yeah.
yeah, Bree. My mind went blank for a second. Yeah, they're great people, man.
Mhm.
Is it Michael A?
Oh yeah, Michael A. and
Heck
Bree.
of a nice guy.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, he's awesome. I'm glad he's getting to play daily
Yeah.
now.
yeah. We talked
So-
about that. We talked about that the last time we talked, because he just needed an opportunity and he got that in Kansas City, and now he's getting a shot and he's making the most of it, and it's great. It's nice to see that he's a good kid, and he works hard out there, and I mean he's doing what I think I don't he's not gonna light the world on fire, but he's a good everyday player in the big leagues, and it's I think he's doing exactly what people are expecting him to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. Listen, there's only 30 guys in the whole world that could do what he does every day. So
Right, and everybody that bashed him all the time, I was like, go back to his 2017 numbers when he got to play. He was what, roughly 270. I think he had like 15 or so homers that year, 15, 20 stolen bases, and Gold Glove caliber defense, man.
Right.
You can't beat that. And I mean, look what he's doing this year. He's at 250. He's almost at 10 homers.
Right.
Probably around same range of stolen bases,
Right.
And,
He'll get there.
you can't beat that for an MLB ball player. Yeah, you could have 30, 40, 50 home runs, whatever, but you're not going to get that on every guy that steps up to the plate.
Right.
So
Listen, anybody out there that wants to bash those guys, my answer is grab your glove and your bat and get out there and let's see what happens.
go to a cage, a cage, put it on the highest.
I played Little League.
Right.
Yeah.
Forget even put it on the highest. Go to a cage and put it on like 70 and tell me what you do.
And with the metal bats at that, because
Right,
that stuff is
exactly.
not forgiving. The metal
Exactly.
bats are not forgiving.
It's easy to be that that armchair quarterback.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I can scream at my TV all I want, but
Yeah, I always said it was funny. You in your mind you would think that playing softball would be super easy if you could crank the hell out of a baseball. I don't know how them girls do it, man.
no.
I don't. That is such a different aspect of hitting a baseball, even if it's traveling faster.
Totally.
Overall speed, just like even slow pitch, it always threw me off because of the way it came in and everything. They're professionals for a reason, and we're sitting here, discussing cards of their pictures,
Right.
for a reason.
So I've got a great fast pitch story for you. So when I was I was a catcher, and I could play a little bit, and when I was in high school, I worked at Bucky Dance Baseball School. He had a baseball school down here in South Florida, and I worked there throughout high school and college and into pro ball. That was my job in the off season. So we had a girl come down, and she was supposed to be this great softball player, and she was a pitcher, and no one would catch her because all the guys were like, oh, I'm not going to catch her, a softball player, whatever. And I was like, oh, I'll do it, whatever, I don't care. And so I got behind the plate, and she's like halfway between the pitcher's mound and home plate, and I have my hands like kind of sitting on my top of my shin guards. And she was like, are you ready? I'm like, yeah, come on, don't worry about it, it's fine. I'm thinking like, here's just like a little girl like out there, and she rears back, and she fires a ball at me, hits me right in the middle of my chest protector, and puts me right on my ass. And I was like, oh my God. And she's like, are you okay? Everybody's laughing at me. Meanwhile, I will tell you that like 5 years later, I see her on TV because it was Jenny Finch pitching. And so my claim to fame was I got to catch Jenny Finch, and she put me right on my ass. But I learned quick what fast pitch softball was like in that moment, because at 40 feet away, man, let me tell you, that thing is moving, and it's moving at a totally different angle that a baseball is, because it rises, and everything is different. So
their changeup is all weird. There's actually a video. I can't remember the guy on YouTube, but there's a guy who he's supposedly a pro player, but if he is, he's minors or had a stint or something. I can't remember his name, but he goes to a softball practice and is talking all this smack and everything. And I want to say the girl struck him out in 3 pitches, and he was just like, nah, never again. I'm not trying it. And it's a different world. But I mean, hell, Jenny Finch is
she's big time. She used to go on This Week in Baseball, and I think there's a video of her pitching to like Albert Pujols and just blowing her away. She's blowing him away.
Yep.
Holy cow. It's just
Andy, were you like Andy when you caught for you? Were you like what's his name in that movie For the Love of the Game?
Yeah, I'm telling you, like I was.
He was a catcher scout, so
yeah, I got to the point where like the first one hit me dead in the chest, and I was totally like caught off guard. I literally spent the entire bullpen just trying to like knock the ball down. Like I was like, if I could just like get a piece of it so it doesn't completely embarrass me again, then I'll feel accomplished at this point. And that was about as well as I could do. But at least I got back there. So none of the other guys.
I'm going to admit something. So the best sport I played was baseball. That was the sport I was the best at.
Right.
But I never played high school baseball.
Oh man, that's some of the best memories I've got, and I sucked. I mean,
do you want to know why I didn't play?
I mean,
and this is going to crack it all up.
We were a 4A school playing for national championship. I mean, for state championship, and I even my senior year, they let me ride the bench enough games so I could get counted as varsity.
Do you want to know why I didn't play?
Yeah, why?
Because one of the requirements was you had to run 2 miles.
I'll be right back, guys.
Under a specific time. I could never run distance. I was always sprints, short distance, whatever.
Right.
And it never made a damn bit of sense to me of why they wanted us to run 2 miles when the bases were 90 feet.
I never understood that either.
Yeah, and so I never would try out. I didn't want to run 2 miles. I didn't want to attempt to run 2 miles.
Yeah, I always thought that was a stupid thing. I remember, my freshman year, I went to Spanish River High School here in Boca, and that was one of the requirements is you had to run 2 miles. And then, I did it, but it was such a weird thing. And then we had a new high school open that I went to, and we didn't have that same requirement. But I never understood that, because especially for me as a catcher, I never, like pitchers, once you get into it, pitchers have to have endurance and that kind of stuff. But for catchers, we never really had to do that kind of stuff. And so I don't know. I always thought that was kind of a weird thing.
Well, I played mostly outfield, and my thought process always was, even if I had to run a long ways to shag a fly ball, if I'm running 2 freaking miles, that was one hell of an error.
Right. No, you're sprinting.
I mean, So I would have rather, if they had said, "Hey, you got to run suicides or something in under a certain amount of time," I would have went all for that. But you told me I got to run 2 miles, knowing I couldn't run distance.
Right.
I didn't want to be disappointed because of something holding me back, so I just didn't even try out. So.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, baseball's a game of sprints. And I get, like I said, I get pitchers having to do it, but
yeah, for conditioning.
Sure.
Yeah, but I mean,
I always hated doing the sprint to first base over and over and over. It was like, am I ever going to get a chance to make the turn to second?
Well, I played football, and the coaches, especially during the summer on two-a-days, they'd make you run sprints so damn and push the sled and everything else. So running to first base over and over and over wouldn't have bothered me one bit. 2 miles, I just didn't see the point, and I want to say it was
2 miles by the time you was done with it.
Right.
I think it was 2 miles and 10 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you always had like a time requirement to it.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't do that, and I basically just talked myself out of it, saying I couldn't do it, and because I didn't see the point in it, but I'm not gonna lie, I regret it. I loved playing baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had played in high school, but I just couldn't. I couldn't run the 2 miles.
Man, I got a buddy of mine I grew up with, and Andy knows this, I'm sure, and Bobbles knows this, but man, I can say I played with an MLB player, Ray Durham.
Oh yeah,
that man could have gone NFL if he wanted to, but he stuck it out with baseball, and
worked out for him.
Yeah, it worked out great for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet growing up. I mean, same when he made it, he was the same when he came home. And the Sox played the Knights for the first time, exhibition game down in Fort Mill when they moved out of Charlotte. He had tickets for everybody from the high school he grew up with, playing ball with. He got to meet the team and stuff after the game. I mean, that was just.
I don't think any of the kids that I went to school with that played sports made it professionally. I think they all got in trouble.
Yeah.
We had some talented athletic kids in my school, but they all chose different career paths or whatever. And
same boat with my high school. Yeah, we had a lot of talent, athletic talent, but they didn't. They made poor life choices.
Yeah,
that was with the kids I went to school with. So
we had a guy. He was being recruited. Everybody was recruiting. He couldn't read on a 6th grade level. I'm straight up. They were passing him just so he could play football.
Yeah, we had a kid like that too.
And I was working at the sheriff's office, and this guy, I'm working intake at the sheriff's office for federal work release guys coming in. And I went, holy crap, that's Ronnie. And I'm patting him down. He didn't even know who I was. I mean, we hadn't seen each other in several years.
Right.
And I was like, hey, Ronnie, how you doing, man? He's like, look, he said, you don't remember me? I said, hey, it's Robert from high school. English. Da, 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 da. And he's like, oh my God, yeah. And he's like, I'm like, keep your hands up on the counter for me. We're going. We still got to do business. But.
What's that photo behind your head? I guess it'd be your left side, that mantle.
Yeah. So this, let's see, this one up here is so that photo was so Mantle signed a bunch of these. He signed 2,000 of those for, I want to say it was the Hilton hotels. So Mantle signed that litho, and Mays signed them, and I want to say it was just Mantle and Mays. I got it actually up in Chantilly from a customer back when we were still doing autographs. He had brought a bunch of them over to the table because he had gotten them. I don't remember how. I remember how he had come across them, but he had a ton of them. And he was like, he didn't know if they were authentic or not. And it turned out they were all authentic. He had a letter from like the Hilton Corporation that he'd gotten them from. We sorted them all, and he wound up selling them all at the show. And he brought one back, and he gave it to me, as a way to say thank you. And
did you see what was certified up there last weekend from our group?
I probably saw it online.
The Babe Ruth.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I don't think the picture did that justice. That Ruth was so bold.
It
Like,
looked awesome.
yeah, it was so dark and bold and just clean. That gave me chills.
Mm-hmm.
The missus can confirm. James was there when Natsman asked me the coolest card that we had subbed so far, and most people would probably think first thing value level.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that Jackie Robinson we sent, and then that Babe Ruth,
Right.
witnessing that being authenticated,
Yeah, that's cool.
and hearing the story behind it, knowing it's a unique, different piece because it's on a football program,
Mm-hmm.
but it has Babe Ruth's auto.
Mm-hmm.
It was
cool.
just so like I can't even remember if I've ever held an authentic Ruth auto.
Yeah, that's
But
very cool.
something on that level where it's not a cut or anything, and then it hit me. It was like Babe Ruth held this,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm holding this.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And when the
Hey, Andy,
guy,
Yeah.
hey, working the show, you've worked the nationals and stuff.
Sure.
How do like vendors like SGC and PSA and whatnot? How do they get these cool collections for their displays, for their booths and stuff? How do they do that?
Well, like what we used to do is we would have our customer, like we had customers of ours that had big collections, and we would just borrow them. We'd ask them, say, "Hey, look, we're putting together a display, and we know you have this piece or that piece, and can we borrow it?" And we'd have to set up the security and the delivery for that kind of stuff, and we would determine what kind of things we were going to display, and that's how we would do it. We all have those customers that have like these huge pieces.
and they're also probably if collectors are on that level with those type of pieces, they're probably heavily insured too.
Right.
So the liability is a little less of a scare on their end because they know that collector's got that piece insured and everything.
And those, a lot of those guys too. I mean, there's a lot of ego involved, and they love the fact that their shit's on display. They can walk through at the beginning of the show and be like, "Oh yeah, that's my those are my Tinkers, Evers, and Chance, or that's my Ruth contract, or that's my 52 Mantle, or whatever it is. Oh yeah, those are my cards, or So that's how that happens.
So you saying that goes back to something I said that we were kind of discussing earlier, and something that I feel that more people need to understand and realize, and you have been a lot behind the scenes and see how the hobby translates, and some of the players that are in this hobby that aren't necessarily publicly, recognized out there. So we all see these $1 million, $2 million, $3, $4, $5 million sales, and it drives the market up because it's on CNN or Forbes or Yahoo or whatever.
Right.
And it gives a false sense, specifically when you're seeing a guy like Mike Trout and Luka, who are still in the game today, of making folks think that they have an opportunity to become a millionaire off of, buying cards from today.
Right.
And I guess my best way of the way I kind of look at it, and I've used this phrase before, but I think people have to realize there's different sandboxes on the playground. And a lot of these guys that are tossing out that $1 million for a card or $2 million for a card, it is almost like an ego competitive thing for them.
Sure.
Because they're in that little group of people in that sandbox, and they're like, hey, Joe, look what I picked up. Hey, Bill, look what I got, and they want to have the best.
Right.
And that's also where I think a lot of it being the need for the PSA label or, whatever. A lot of the Jordans and stuff like that are hitting high figures in the BGS label because of the autograph portion of it. But I think that's something that a lot of people in the hobby aren't realizing it's not just your everyday guy that's busting out $1 million card.
Right.
Most of us are playing in the same playground with the $20 to $100, maybe a $200 card here, there, 500, whatever.
Right.
We're not throwing around these 5, 6, 7-figure cards, and it's magnifying the interest in the hobby, and it's bringing people in because they're getting on watching the news, and it's like, holy crap, a baseball card brought 7 figures.
Right.
I have to go look through my stuff, and then they start buying more. I think that's where things got out of hand, and then people realized, oh, I'm not pulling that $1 million card, But my point to it was when you said, it's bragging rights,
right? The big guys. Look, guys have a ton of money, and they come into it's just like anything else. It's like, it's kind of like playing. It's kind of like playing the lotto too, or like scratch tickets.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what? There's going to be that one ticket that hits big, but there's going to be 1 million tickets that don't win, and there's going to be 1 million tickets that win little. How many times you win those scratch off tickets and you win $2 or $5, and maybe one time you got lucky and you hit the 100, and you heard about somebody's cousin's aunt who won $1,000, and then that all of a sudden, you got a chance, or you heard about, the Publix in your hometown that sold the ticket that won 200,000, and now everybody's like, shit, I got to go out there and buy, lottery tickets because, our Publix sold a big winner, but nobody else won. It's the same thing,
Well, it's also, people aren't realizing that some of these cards that are selling for these 7-figure sales, they weren't like pulled from the pack.
Right.
The person that had it. That person originally, like Vegas Dave with the trout.
Right. He didn't buy it at Walmart.
They paid 6 figures to obtain this and then sold it for the 7-figure sale.
Right.
They had the funds to jump into that type of sandbox, that market area of it from the get-go, and then they're basically trading within each other. They have their little segment, and we have ours.
That's the 1% top tier.
Exactly.
Right. And
guys like us are going into Walmart and thinking like, geez, if I drop $150 today on blasters and hangers, I'm gonna hit it big. And you're not, because you got to spend money. You got to spend a lot of money to make money. But also, the reality also is, if I went into Walmart not that I could find any cards at Walmart anymore anyway, but let's say let's just say in a perfect world, I walked into Walmart and it was a Walmart in the middle of nowhere that all of a sudden the guy came and stocked it before anybody else walked in there. And I bought every blaster that they had in that whole place. And I spent $1,000 on cards at Walmart. There's a really good chance I wouldn't make $1,000 worth of cards because I'm not buying, hobby boxes and all that kind of stuff.
It kind of depends on which product. There are products that if you went and dropped $1,000 on you,
well, you're generic,
right?
You're generic top series 1.
Top series, you're going to have $1,000 worth of fun ripping them.
Right.
You're going to have a lot of commons. You're going to hit some short prints. You might, hit a good gold or
maybe
potentially an auto.
The sealed wax is worth more than when you would make out of the individual cards out of it.
Right.
But your products like Prism and Optic, or Topps Chrome. I love ripping Topps Chrome. That kind of stuff, historically, you could make your money back pretty easily. You'd have the bust boxes here or there, but no, you're right though. People have to realize cards aren't to get rich.
Right.
Cards are to have fun, and those that are flashing and flexing, as they like to say, these massive cards. They had the money to begin with,
right?
Or they got extremely lucky and hit a superfractor of the top prospect player, which is like your example, the lottery ticket formula. The 1 million chance they pulled that card.
Right.
I bought a case of 2020 Topps Series 1. pre-ordered it before it came out at like $800 for a case. My wife was ready to kill me. I got one card out of it that was a money card.
Yeah, your Jordan.
Yeah, that Jordan. That was the money card. Now, I had some other good cards in there, but you think about they're hobby boxes. What's that, 12 hobby boxes in a case?
Right.
How many packs in a hobby box? How many cards in a pack? Out of those numbers, one card,
right,
$800. I mean,
it's the numbers don't really add up. Right.
No,
it's hard to do. But anyway, when you were talking about the show and he asked about the collection and stuff like that, it just blows my mind sometimes because there's so many of these YouTubers out there, and we're sitting on YouTube right now. There's nothing wrong with people getting on YouTube, discussing the hobby, discussing ways to help people.
Sure.
That sort of thing. But as I told him earlier, there's a lot that are influencers, and they're called that for a reason. And they give this image that they can make, tell you who to go buy and you can make a ton of money. And then these people see all these 5, 6, 7-figure cards out there and think it's easy to do.
Right.
And I really think more people just need to understand. And before they get caught up in like the guy, I guess, who did a video that now he's in a huge amount of debt and everything because he was using credit. It's sad that people went down that route because really, I've said it all along. When people talk about market values and investing and all that, this hobby doesn't survive without a collector.
Right.
It doesn't. It cannot survive only based off of a financial or monetary value. It has to have a collector to drive that value.
Right.
It's the whole supply versus demand thing. You have to have collectors in there that are driving demand, or the supply is going to outweigh the demand and the value is going to be nil.
Right.
And that's kind of where we hit in the 90s.
Absolutely.
I mean, times changed with the internet popping up and, eBay starting up and all of that stuff. It became easier to obtain cards. And then it was magnified at how much was actually out there. And then people lost interest in it because they didn't have this rare stuff that they believed in, and the values dropped. And realistically, it's been said today is a similar thing. And my personal feeling is, because I've sat and tried to think about it, 90s, the late 90s, the inserts are highly sought after. And I've thought about, well, maybe I should be stashing inserts today, because if we do hit Junk Wax 2.0, maybe these inserts. But then I got to thinking about it. The inserts before were so much damn tougher to pull than they are today. It's like every pack has 2 to 3 inserts in it. So, I don't even know if that's a good suggestion anymore.
Right, because now everything's an insert or a parallel or,
Yeah, there's just so many of them. And they're trying to make it seem like, things are...
Yeah, they're creating scarcity.
Right. And I sit here and look at it and I'm like, okay, well, just because you're making more products and then you're making more of each product doesn't mean that it's more rare.
Right.
And it's just sad. I mean,
right. And the other thing too is, if you think about the inserts and that kind of stuff from the Junk Wax era, what you were getting inserts of stars,
right.
And that's a big difference too. When I just got an order back from Beckett. When I pull up, when I get this, this card here is I have the 2020, Bowman Chrome Prospects Gold Refractor of Drew Waters. That's 12 out of 50. Well, that's all well and good. But if Drew Waters doesn't ever, make it into the show and have a career, then
you
this
got a
isn't
card
worth
of
the slab, where in 93, this card is, Chipper Jones. This card is Cal Ripken Jr. This card is, a guy
Those
who's
that are
gone
not
on.
familiar, Andy is speculating, obviously, on Drew Waters taking Acuna's place while he's injured, because Waters is a prospect for the Atlanta Braves, who many have said is going to be coming up. Just to make that clear, why
Right.
Andy got a Drew Waters.
The reason I got it is actually, if you want to know the real reason why I have this card, is because I last summer, so this was before I left SGC. I had taken 3 orders. I had 3 5-card orders. I submitted 1 to SGC, 1 to PSA, and 1 to Beckett. The SGC one I didn't do under my name. I did it under a fake name, and I wanted to actually see what the turnaround times were for the 3 companies and how their grading were. So I did modern cards and I did some vintage cards, and just kind of mixed them all up. And this was back when SGC was still really far behind too. It was like before we shut down everything. SGC,
I'm sure you still got them back.
yeah, SGC still came in first at the time, and then I got my PSA ones back. I want to say in probably April. I got the PSA ones back right after I left SGC. I left SGC. I left SGC in November, but I got the PSA ones back, I think, in April. And then I got these Beckett ones back this last week. So the Beckett ones took me over a year to get back. But so the Drew Waters just happened to be one that I pulled last year. I got two Bobby Witts. I got Drew Waters. I got a Trey Young, and then I got a 51 Bowman Sam Chapman. That was the vintage card that I did. So they gave me 6, which I think they might have overgraded a little bit on this one, but
you think Ozzy's going to do anything
now, don't they?
What's that?
They would have new vintage graders now, wouldn't they?
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what's weird. What I think is weird about Beckett is so on their new stuff they get Beckett labels. On their older stuff I get BVG labels. On anything that's a 9.5 or better, I got a gold label on it. The 8.5 and the 9 got a silver label.
And everything else is white.
Yeah, the BVG has this crappy looking white. I printed this on my computer label. It's really weird. There's kind of an inconsistency in their label. PS consistent in their labels, and SGC is very consistent in their labels.
That's one big thing. So I don't know if you followed along, but Platinum Card Breaks has started using us to submit to SGC.
Mm-hmm.
We've been friends with them for several years. And they submit a ton of cards for grading. That is one of his biggest hatreds towards Beckett.
Yeah.
He doesn't mind the 9.5 label or the 10 or the black label. He's literally sent me, I don't know how many BGS cards that were 9s. And I'm not talking little cards. Big cards that were in a 9 that he just wanted out because he couldn't stand the silver label.
Yeah, it's stupid. I don't get it.
So,
yeah, it was. I opened up the box. I was like, "This is where I don't do a lot of Beckett grading, so it kind of threw me. The only time I really ever used Beckett was for cards that were too thick for SGC holders, and this was really just a test run. It was just they didn't do such a great job of the test run. And so
here's a question for you.
Yeah,
Beckett True 9.5, True Gem Mint, or a PSA 10?
So I have found PSA to be really inconsistent in their grading. So now that I don't know if that's going to change going forward. I mean, I think that Nat Turner is really going to make a big push to change some things over there. I mean, we're seeing that a lot already. And look, I know I've heard a lot from Nat. I've met Nat on occasion. I know he's got a lot of big ideas. But up to this point, I think that they are very inconsistent. So there are times where I'll look at a PSA 10 and I'll be like, wow, that is a really good card. And there are times that I'll look at a PSA 10 and I'll be like, this is exactly why the industry needs a 9. I think that when we came out at SGC with the 9.5, we did it specifically because modern cards needed that space.
Why doesn't PSA have, and I've heard PSA faithfuls say that they can't stand the SGC 9.5.
Sure, of course.
And it does not make any sense to me why they would say that, because PSA has a half-point grade for every single thing below a 9. But then they don't have the 9.5. And the only reason I can see them not having it is so they can be exactly what you said, inconsistent. That 60-40 centering range, that's way too much. I mean, in measurement, realism, it's not a lot. But it's enough that looking at a card, you can tell it's off-centered.
Right.
And that gives them that leeway to choose, do we want to throw the 10 or do we want to throw the 9? Because realistically, on grading scales, they would be fine at the 9. They would be grading it accurately. But within their threshold, they're also grading it accurately with the 10. And that's why it's so inconsistent.
Well, here's what, now this is pure speculation, obviously, because I don't know anything. But I would not be surprised if one of the things that we see coming out of this new regime over at PSA is a 9.5. Nat is a big collector. He does collect modern as well as vintage. So I wouldn't be totally surprised you see that. The reason I believe that you hear the PSA faithful say that they hate the 9.5 is very simple. There are a trillion PSA 9s and 10s out there in the market. And if a 9.5 rolls into the market, you've just devalued an entire marketplace full of 9s and 10s, because all those cards now need to be regraded and reevaluated, especially the 10s. Because if you put it, we saw it at SGC. Everybody lost their shit when we put out a 9.5, because now your 10 wasn't worth as much. Because is it really a 10 or is it a 9.5? Because if it's a 9,
you got to back you as a brand, you've got to back that previous grade up.
Right. Exactly. But then what happens is when you get that card in for a reholder, what we
reevaluated
saw is, for most cards, they came in as a reholder, and you know what? We're not going to really beat you up too much on that. If it's not a huge card, we're not going to nitpick it on that. But if you send in a huge card, we got to look at it again. You may not send it in for a review, but I can promise you 100 out of 100 times, if you send in a high grade early mantle, that card's getting reviewed whether you ask for a review or not. If you just send it in for a reholder, that card's getting reviewed. If you send in a 53 maze, that card is getting reviewed 100 out of 100 times. You send in a Leaf Ruth because you wanted in a new SGC holder, that card is getting reviewed. And sometimes, a guy like me or a guy like Brian now over there, or whoever is handling your account, Brent or whoever, is going to have to make that tough phone call that says, hey, listen, you sent this in for a review. We don't know if the grading standards are still the same as they were when this first got graded. And we think that this is no longer a 5 or a 6, and we were more comfortable giving it a 4 or 5. Do you still want us to reholder this card?
But the thing is, people would look at it as that's not right that SGC does that. I know for a fact CGC does it with comics. If you send a comic in to be reholdered, because I've read, articles of people that said they sent them in, they get contacted back, hey, this has been damaged, whether either shipment, inside the slab, whatever, we're going to have to knock it down a grade or whatever.
Right.
But just a prime new example on that was the golden auction of the Jordan that they pulled and said, we're sending it back to PSA to be reviewed.
Right.
Because they didn't feel it deserved the 10.
Right.
Now, that one didn't make much sense to me because they've sold many Jordans that didn't look like they met the grade they were given. So why now are they, being critical of the grade? I don't know. But I'm going to tell you, and this isn't just from, because we use SGC, because I literally have slabs from every company, But I think their scale makes this the most sense out of any of them out there, simply because, for one, BGS, their scale literally should be black label equals gold label SGC. The gold label 10 should be the Gem Mint 10, and then the 9.5 should be the 9.5, because first off, how do you have two pristines?
Right, doesn't make sense.
Pristine is pristine is pristine. I don't get the two pristines.
Right.
And then I can accept a card having, a minor defect and being considered gem mint.
Sure.
So, that's where I think the SGC scale is, it makes more sense than BGS is having two pristines.
I agree.
And if PSA, if you think that will eventually want to adopt a 9.5 and maybe even go higher to say, okay, we're a little lenient on that 60-40 centering. If you get us one in here that's 50-50 with no other flaws, we're going to go up to even if they just wanted to call it a Gem Mint Plus or whatever, and have a grade above, I think that would work for them too.
Yeah, I just wouldn't be surprised, Like,
yeah, it only makes sense because they have the half everywhere else.
I think he has to shake it up a little bit over there. He's showing it already. He's showing that he's willing to shake it up. I know he's already done his homework at all the other grading companies to see what everybody else has felt like. Before he bought into, Collector's Universe, I know he's done his homework. And, he's not a dumb guy. He's got a good team around him. And I really think that, he's going to try to look. It's hard because he's dealing with a monster. A monster with a huge base of, people that are stuck in their ways and don't want change. And,
well,
he also, I don't think he cares.
I think he's wanting to create a one-stop shop.
Yeah, well, look
vendor.
At
everything all these acquisitions.
Well,
he's trying to get rid of eBay. He's wanting you come to PSA. He wants you to grade with them. He wants you to consign with them, auction with them, list them. He's looking to take the whole thing, and that's wild.
Well, it was really, really funny when he acquired Wada recently. I don't know if Refractor Jones is still in the chat or not, but it was funny. We were having a discussion about the rumor of PSA acquiring SGC.
Yeah.
And I had been checking a few things out to see where, because I know the rumors pop up on blowout forums and all this other crap. So I was kind of digging around trying to see what I was finding. And I found it very interesting that Nat was tweeting about video game prices. And I actually threw it in a response about why it would make more sense for Nat to acquire Wada. And this was like 3 days before it ever even happened. But CGC, which what is their actual umbrella company? CCG.
Yeah.
So they had announced they had hired video game graders, and they were going to be opening and starting grading video games. And then I seen over on Nat's Twitter, he's like, video games are up next. And I was like, wait a second. He's watching this video game market. CCG or CGC announces they're going to start doing video games. It's like, why in the hell would Nat want to put his money? And no offense to SGC, but let's look at business and business of what made more sense.
Right.
Just as you were talking earlier, it's a competitive market when you get into these different aspects of the hobby. He sees CCG and see, that company just got invested in with, what was it, Blackstone. They just started up their sports card avenue. They're already massive in comics. They do coins.
Right.
Then you go over to the Collector's Universe side. They're purchased by Nat. Well, Nat has the sports cards. He has the coins. It made sense. Okay, but is Nat going to be risking trying to expand into a new avenue when he's trying to catch up on one portion of the business already with the cards?
Right.
And plus the dudes for Wada were young.
Mm-hmm.
The two guys that started Wada, they were young. They would have, to me, they're now probably set for, potential future financially. Nat was able to acquire Wada, the high known gaming grader, and a lot of those grading or gaming graded games were flowing through Heritage,
Right.
knocking those numbers. Well, now with the golden thing, he can flow those Wada video games through Golden. It was like the perfect storm there to say, okay, you get invested in by Blackstone or whatever. You want to start video games. We're going to say, okay, we're going to do video games, but we're going to acquire the top company. And I also have an auction house now to flow them all through.
Right.
So it just made sense. I was just kind of putting, lines together and piecing it together and trying to thought process of, if I had the money, which route would I do?
Right.
And it just kind of made sense. And then it happened, and I was like, holy crap.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, the only way that it makes sense for him to acquire a card grading company is if PSA is looking to expand into another space, and he doesn't want to ground up it. You know what I mean? Like, they have a spot in New Jersey, they have a spot in LA. If they want to do something in the Southeast so they can cover more of a market, just because they need to, just so that they can kind of spread it out a little bit more, not to even say SGC, but, there's SGC is down here. HG whatever is here. There's the two smaller ones that are down here, and then there's SGC down here.
Yeah.
That would be the only reason I could see him doing that. I don't know if I even see that as a viable option for him right now, is because he's still just trying to right the ship on what he's got going on. I think that at that point he would be pushing himself a little bit too far. That rumor that I read that on Blowout also, or Net 54, wherever it was, and that was an old thread that just kind of popped back up around.
Right. That's what, because I had heard about it several months ago, and I just didn't say anything about it because I don't want to get into that side of things when I had reached out, asked, was told, they didn't know nothing. So I left it alone, and then it started popping up more and more. And then, some of the larger YouTubers were talking about it. And, I basically was just telling people, look, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
If it happens, it happens. But personally, it doesn't make any sense. On both parties, SGC's been doing a hell of a job. Peter took, an ass whooping last year on everything, and he's been holding to his word, getting this stuff done. And it wouldn't make sense for those guys to do all of that and show what they're capable of and earn that respect to just say, hey, we're going to sell off.
Right. I mean, the only way it would make sense for SGC to do that, you have to remember that, that Pete has bosses too.
Yeah.
At some point, they may say to themselves, "Hey, we've reached.
I can walk away and
right. it reached capitulation point in the market. We've made some money here, and maybe it's time to move on. Again,
I said that too.
Yeah.
I said that too. It would depend on what the dollar amount that was offered.
Right. I mean, obviously there's a walk away amount for all of us.
Right. I heard that, and again, this was within the rumor thread, that there was something there, and this was probably just BS numbers, but it was something like 45 to 50 million was the offer. And I don't think they would do that, only because they seen what he paid for PSA.
I don't know.
It was probably just BS numbers, because
I don't know.
It doesn't make much sense.
I know you could offer me 50 million for a lot of things, and I would definitely take it.
Oh yeah, I mean, but that's coming from us,
right?
Shit, you could offer me.
Where I moved to, they're going to call me Mr. Danner.
Yeah, hell, you offer me 50,000 for a lot of things, and I'll tell you to take it. But yeah, it's been a crazy ride.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going anywhere though.
Andy, have you been to any shows?
No, man, I really haven't. The spring for me was really busy because I coached baseball. It was my son's senior year, and I coached at his high school, which was cool. And I actually, when he graduated, I decided I was going to retire from coaching after 25 years, which was kind of cool. I made that decision early in the season because I thought to myself, like, I could come back, but I can't think of a season that would be better than going out with him as a senior. So I did that this year, and then, I've been working a lot, and he graduated, and we did the whole college thing, and it's been a busy spring, and now we're kind of getting through the summer, and I think I'll probably start getting myself back into it a little bit, kind of rolling into the fall. He's going to University of Miami in the fall, which we're real excited about, and my daughter will be a sophomore, and then I'm not going to be coaching, so I'll have a little bit more time, and I've been talking about getting a little bit back into the hobby, and I've been believe it or not, I've always been much more of an autograph collector than a card collector, and so I've been doing a lot of autograph collecting. I've been obsessively autograph collecting over the last probably 6-8 months. So it's I always collected autographs through the mail. I've been doing it since I'm a little kid. So every day my mailbox is full with cards I'm getting back in the mail, which is cool. And actually, one of the things I've been doing too is I collect those Funko Pops. So this is my Eric Davis one I got back today, and I actually have a wall in my office that I got all my autographed Funko Pops on, which is over there. So
yeah, I don't have an office. I do have. You can see some up there.
Yeah, I gotta see them up there
on top of the bat.
Yeah, so I don't have any Nationals ones, but I do have the Teddy Roosevelt mascot that I want to get signed by somebody, but I haven't quite figured out who I want to send it out to yet. So that's my big choice I got to make.
Ryan Zimmerman.
Huh?
Ryan Zimmerman.
Send it to Zimmerman? Yeah, I probably should do that.
Or send it. Well, no, that wouldn't work either. Yeah, it would have to be. How about Rizzo?
No.
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah. I could do that.
I don't think Zim has a Funko. I think it's only Scherzer, Soto.
No, I'll show you what I got to send out. See, because a lot of guys don't have their own. So when they don't have their own, I got this guy.
Yeah, the Theodore. Yeah, that's what I was saying. The only Nationals ones I can think of are Soto, Scherzer. There might be a Screech.
Yeah, I was gonna do. Soto was having he was doing a private signing. I was gonna do it, but it was pretty expensive. I just got this one the other day.
Vlad.
Yep, and then I got the Altuve one. I got the Glaber.
Did Altuve did he pay you to take that home?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. It's weird because every time I pick it up, it buzzes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been doing that kind of stuff, and I don't know. You guys going to the national?
I am not. I wanted to, but then when they were saying it was going to be canceled, and we just waited around too long, and that's something like. So I've always traveled. I wouldn't care to fly,
Right.
but I've never went through like having to book flights and all that stuff because I've never flown anywhere.
Right.
But I don't know that I could. I probably could if I took it and broke it up, but driving up to Chicago would be quite a trip.
Yeah.
And I don't care for driving as much as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I was going and had to back out. I actually had a place to stay. I just had to buy my ticket and my air. I was getting ready to buy it, and then something happened. I'm not able to go, so that sucks.
Yeah, we're planning to do Atlantic City next year. So, plus I think this year's. I think it's just going to be
Weird.
I think it's going to be slam packed,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to go up and meet a lot of the guys that I've met a lot of people that go to Chantilly and stuff like that, or the local people. And I'd like to meet, some more folks that have followed the channel or been in the group or whatever, or subbed with us. I'd love to meet the guys and hang out and everything.
Right. Yeah, you'll have to host an after party.
Yeah, I mean that we're talking about trying to set something up for next year.
That's cool.
I think Chicago is just going to be crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
Being the first one since 19, being that the hobby boomed so much.
Oh yeah.
Being that you got to think when I'm sitting here talking about the large YouTube channels that are these influencers, their channels aren't that old.
No.
So you have all these guys that are going to be there and filming and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, and it's all of their first nationals because it wasn't like this 2 years ago.
Right, and most of them guys weren't even. A lot of them weren't even in the hobby.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just going to be crazy. I would have loved to have went and just experienced it. The card I spoke on earlier when Natsman asked me. The coolest card that we've ever submitted is actually going to be on display at the National.
That's cool.
It's in Golden's auction, and it's supposed to be in their booth featured. So it would have been cool to see that. I want to try to obtain that card, but I'm afraid of what it's going to go for, which will probably be out of my.
That's a second mortgage.
But it's still, and this is where I know there's people out there that might think when I'm saying stuff or whatever that it's just BSing, because a lot of people do. But it's stuff like that, like, not to sound like a puss, but I actually teared up when my LCS called me and told me he was sending that, because when people started asking us to do group submissions and everything, I was hesitant at first. I mean, I believe I had talked to you about it before.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to do them because I knew it was a lot of work. I was scared to do it. I was scared if something happened to people's stuff, and people just kept asking.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't expect it to be as big as it was, from the get-go. And then to see that something like that has now been sent through us, and so many people have said they've never seen anything like that before, and now for it to be at the biggest stage for the hobby at the National, in Golden's booth, featured and going to be auctioned off, to go to somebody's collection,
it's pretty wild.
That it's not even my card, and just to be a part of it, seeing that Ruth get signed, I got cold chills. The hair stood up on my arms hearing when that happened. Seeing like guys like Mike Kaufman, sending in all of these different Jordans that I've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that he's had them for years and years. Seeing James Gillum bring his 51 Bowman and his 2 Ty Cobbs and everything else, and hear, that he bought them back in like the 70s and 80s, and he's just had them all this time. And he has a huge collection and has never graded a card.
Right.
So he met us, and now he loves sending them in every month, just to have them protected. That kind of stuff, that's what I love about this.
Yeah.
When I sell cards or whatever, yeah, it's nice to make a little bit of money off of them. But it goes back into the hobby.
Sure, yeah, of course.
Like it's just cool. I buy beater cards. That's like this. I know the guys, whenever they get it, are probably going to laugh at me, and I hope they will put it in a slab for me. But
Yep. Cut the edges off.
Yeah, they cut the whole border off.
Yep.
But it made it affordable for me.
Yeah, I hear you.
So that
if Nat can do it, you can do it.
Well, I mean, like a K line, it's got a big crease through it, whatever. But it was affordable.
That's right.
The Williams, I bought these. The guy at the dealer, he said he had a beater box, and so I asked him if I could look at it. I was like, I can't afford the expensive stuff. Let me at least have a chance at owning the cards,
Mm-hmm.
And that's the cool thing about it. I do want to say I do not know what the hell happened here. Did Mike say?
That's just what.
All right. Okay. Sorry about that. My son opened the door. How did this get a 2? I know you probably can't see it. I really wish.
Probably the centering.
This thing is like bright, crisp, corners, everything.
Is that the one that you posted on Facebook?
I just bought it from Chantilly. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that on Facebook.
I couldn't walk. I don't like off-centered cards.
Right.
But the color and the corners being sharp, it looks like it literally is packed fresh.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is the centering on that. I mean, I think that's still pretty harsh, but
yeah, I mean, there's nothing else with it. So, I mean, I don't care. It made it affordable. That's
right.
the way I look at it. But, that's I don't know. There's just different takes on it. It's nice selling cards and seeing what the hobby does and seeing the 5-6 figure cards and all that stuff. But if you're not building a collection, you're not going to continue having fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very stressful.
I agree.
How big is those collections, by the way?
I've had to change my pattern on
people. How big is your graded card collection?
It's big. It's too big.
How is yours, Nats, man?
I have more raw than I do graded. I've got a lot of 80s. I don't have anything past 90 until it gets up to 2013. I got some stuff from 2013 up. Except for my Roger Maris, I picked up PSA 6. That was
you can't go wrong with that one.
That's going to the casket. It's going in the urn with me. But yeah, I really wish there was an affordable way to grade a lot of those 80s cards, and just not a grade, just encapsulate it and it be a fair price.
Yeah.
Not a
I
price
think one of these new companies that have popped up, they would be highly strategic in building a model of a low value option that isn't designating a numerical grade on the slab. But for folks, like he said, to where if you could just have it encapsulated and authenticated,
Right.
A cheap option for people to do so.
Right. Just slab.
Yeah, just a slab, but it's authentic.
Authentic.
Yeah. A nice looking slab, authentic, protected, all of that at a cheap option. I think people would really appreciate that.
Right.
That's a niche.
Yeah. So
yeah. But man, I appreciate y'all being on here tonight, man. This has been fun.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah. Hey, now that I know that my setup works, I need to get back to doing like the live little group sessions because I really enjoy sitting and talking. I mean, this is where it's not one person's opinion and it's the only opinion. This is multiple people and talking about multiple things, and it's that's what this is about. This is why the internet is awesome.
Definitely, I love talking to you guys, man. I definitely I'll jump on anytime with you guys.
Yeah, this was like short notice. It was just like, hey,
he just messaged. He was like, "Hey, does anybody want to get on?" I was like, "Well, I can, but I can't promise you my setup's working, but we can try it out." So
I was watching TV with my wife, and I picked up my phone. All of a sudden, I saw the message. I was like, "Man, I got it like an hour before." I was like, "I would have, but I just got this." And all of a sudden, I got the link. I jumped out of bed. I was like, "I gotta go."
All right.
But yeah, I'm definitely at any time. And
it was good chatting with y'all.
I might have some news for you guys next time I get on. So next time we'll chat about other stuff.
Awesome, man.
News.
Yeah, so I'll keep you posted.
Are you pregnant?
We'll do a broadcast for it.
All right. Yeah, I'm already eating for 2. So.
Oh, all right.
All right, guys. Have a great rest of your weekend.
You too.
I'll be good.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks everybody for joining. Hit the subscribe like button for me and Bobbles to our channels. That'd be great. Bobbles and Ball Cards and Natsman 72. Go hit the his Facebook page. Miss Bobbles, if you're on here, if you want to slap that Facebook page in the blog there, people can get it. But thank you everybody for being on here tonight. Remember what we said, keep your head up, eyes up, head on the swivel, deuces. #Dirty South, we're out.